cleaner hates you. Oh, not in the way that she hates Crocs, Boris Johnson, or the sort of people who talk about going for a cheeky Nando's. Remember those? But make no mistake, your cleaner hates you. And just because she knows the name of your dog and your guinea pig and your husband, and remembers to ask after your son studying, what was it? Conflict resolution and macrame at Wolverhampton, Derby or DMU, do not be fooled. Your cleaner hates you. Sometimes your cleaner wonders what it is you do all day. Given you have a woman to clean your house, a woman to iron your clothes, another woman, younger, bit posher, to walk your dog, they hate you too. You tell your cleaner you have projects. As you waft your way to your study on the 3rd floor, your room of one's own, and what you don't do there ever is move the mountain of malodorous and mouldering mugs, some homage to a long-gone undergraduate lifestyle. And your cleaner would like you to know that emptying an ashtray into a wicker waste paper basket doesn't help at all and just adds to the hoovering. Your cleaner hates you. Your cleaner hates the rumpled, tissues you leave inside your unmade bed. She hates the ring of pubic pelt around your bath. But at least she knows for sure you're no natural blonde. Your cleaner hates you. One day, come the glorious revolution, you will find yourself not with your back against the wall, but instead issued with cleaner's clothing. Ill-fitting grey joggers and a hoodie full of holes where neat bleach has burnt through fabric to meet bare flesh, and then you will become your cleaner's cleaner. And your cleaner will look you in the eye and she will know that you hate her, but your cleaner, your ex-cleaner, well, actually, your ex-cleaner won't give a flying. Thank you. My name's Cathi Ray. I'm a poet based in the East Midlands, and that's the title poem from this collection, Your Cleaner Hates You, and other poems available at Amazon. If you don't want to buy this, there'll be people bringing music, other creative things to this. Buy their work, buy their merchandise, follow them, like them, share them. Remember the hashtag #ArtIsWork. In the last few months, the last year, we've had a lot of time to look at the small, to pay attention to little things. Here's a poem about little things. It's called Rescue Me. The Polish dog is old, a little moth-eaten, shabby around the seams. She resembles nothing more than a much-loved greying bear, and my dogs are small, sometimes overawed by the more rumbustious play of bigger beasts, but they enjoy her undemanding company, and so sometimes we walk together, the Polish dog, the Polish boy, and us. And the Polish boy says she's shy. The Polish boy says my stepfather used to beat her, and I see him choosing not to go there, not today. The Polish boy says, but if you give her time and space and let her set the pace, sometimes she will let you pet her. And when we stop so she can rest, she does just that. Head to his knees, milky eyes fixed upon her face. And my dogs are bored. Cast round for excitement, see Indy coming through the gates. Indy spent the first 6 months of her life in a room because no one seemed to know that dogs need fresh air, exercise and companions. Indy, Instagram sensation, different outfit every day, lots of likes. Not much love. Finally rescued and rehomed to the yoga teacher. And we all walk together. And the boys lean into each other with an easy intimacy, say something I don't quite catch. And later the yoga teacher says, we are together. And the yoga teacher says, we met on this park because of our dogs. And the yoga teacher says, we are happy. And all of this, boys, dogs, park, all of this is a tiny miracle. But blink, blink, and you might miss it. Thank you. There's a real lack in poetry of useful, practical advice. Here's a poem with useful, practical advice. It's called, be sure to make careful measurement prior to committing to ownership. So, we went to Brighton to buy a bed. New couple, yes, but hardly love's young dream, but still in need of extra space for languid lounging, endless pots of tea. Love will find a way, we said, so failed to measure car or bed, and failed again, forced to leave it there beside the sea. But even if we'd brought it back, well, nowadays it would be full of just me and a pack of snoring dogs. Sometimes, though, I wonder if we'd found that magic way, whether we'd still be together, if only for the sake of the furniture. Thank you. Shamima Begum is, depending on the paper you read, either a dangerous terrorist or a victim of online grooming. This is called Bothered for Shamima and the others. 1. My mum's got a new boyfriend, proper waste man, but I'm not bothered. 2. My stepdad threw my phone down the stairs, cracked the screen and everything, but I'm not bothered. 3. He said the pictures were just for us. Everyone in school's seen them now, but I'm not bothered. 4. My uncle's a right pedo, and for a minute the mask almost cracks and it is smashed back into place with a ferocious anger, but he's not fucking touching me, and besides, I'm not bothered. In the windowless room at the end of the corridor today, we are not bothered about Shakespeare, we are not bothered about Steinbeck, we are especially not bothered about the committing to memory of 16 or 17 random poems, just to prove we could all have had a grammar school education, and I'm trying really hard to not be bothered by the simple truth that half my class don't read well enough to even understand the questions on an examination paper. Shamima, virgin child bride on your wedding night. Was your husband gentle, playful even, or already battle shattered and he grabbed you with hot, hard hands while you lay face blank still, not bothered? And later, did you run your hands over the heavy black fabric that engulfed you, shrouded your swelling belly, or were you already fatalistic, a shrug, inshallah, if he wills it? And later still, when you held your first, and your second, and your third dead baby, were you bothered then, or did you seek refuge in the rhetoric of revolution? Shamima, you would never have ended up in that windowless room, but in some other classroom with light and air and a smart board that actually bloody works. Were you already learning to keep your head down, face still, not bothered, while you waited for something to happen? And back in my room, Sadiq and M squared and Tequila and Leighton and Joey with an I and Amy are still not bothered, waiting for the next thing to happen. The British government committed an act of illegality to Shamima Begum. No one should be a stateless individual. Thank you. This is my response to the Black Lives Matter debates and conversation starting last summer, ongoing, hope for the rest of our lives. It's called And Counting. At 12, my daughter starts to spread her wings. Her chosen companions on shopping trips, her mates, not me, and so there are rules. Stay together, don't talk to boys, and if all else fails and you're frightened and things fall apart, go find someone in a uniform, they're there to help you. White privilege. In a clapped-out car scene, many better days, and a brake light that flickers on and off and on and off, I get pulled over, so I smile. Ratchet up my accent a notch or two. Invent a wholly fictitious husband who fails to fix the simplest thing, and so waved on, told to get it sorted soon. White privilege. And years ago, burdened with babies and bags and a buggy whose back wheel sticks, I failed to see my daughter has helped herself to a small plush toy until halfway home, and so we turn. A lesson to be learned. Ignore the chorus of wails and tears, and in the shop they're charmed. Insist she must keep the bear. White privilege. So intent on conversation with a man I hoped might be my lover, we left the coffee shop without paying our bill, but no pavement-pounding pursuit for us. White privilege. Watching my best friend's son get ready for a big night out. Suit sharp, trainers just so, and we worry. Well, of course we worry. We worry he might get drunk. We worry he might get laid. We worried he might get involved in a scuffle in a nightclub car park. White privilege. Lost on a leafy lane. We stopped to ask the gardening guy for help, and he, unsure, summons his wife from deep indoors for further knowledge reinforcement, and then, asked how our holiday is going, recommends a pub that welcomes dogs. White privilege. And on, and on, and on, never asked where I come from, never asked where I really, really, really come from. No badly disguised surprise at my use of language or my ability to solve a cryptic crossword clue. On and on and on. White privilege. Thank you. So the last year, we've all had a very similar experience. Like lots of poets, I've tried to document what's been going on in a year where we didn't go many places or see many people. So here's a couple of pandemic poems. And there's a theory by a woman called Elizabeth Kubler-Ross about the stages of grieving. And there's things like denial, anger, bargaining, acceptance. And I think a lot of us went through this during the pandemic. So this is when I think about acceptance. Late middle age is mostly about looking for your glasses. So this is called a good day. Today has been a good day. A friend messages me to let me know he's baking sourdough bread and he would like nothing more, he says, than to stand at my door cradling a loaf still oven warm. A loaf we would tear apart with our bare hands, smear the hunks with that good Polish jam, sit in the small sliver of my garden that gets the morning sun, drink coffee out of mugs as big as bowls and pretend that we're in France or anywhere else, but of course he can't. So instead he sends a photograph, and in return I unearth the cherry jam now lost behind a stack of tins, take another picture, the promise of jam tomorrow. I realised when we first went into lockdown, obviously Leicester is the world capital of lockdown. We don't just win the football, we also win the capital of lockdown. I realised I missed lots of really small, stupid things. This is called missing in inaction. I miss just popping to the shops. Packet of fags, some chocolate, a bunch of tulips for my desk. I miss tulips on my desk. Finally deciding that dead flowers were more depressing than no flowers. I miss tulips. I miss Saturday afternoon second-hand record shopping, swearing that this time we'll only buy what's good and not that which reminds us of our youth. I miss coming home, Paul firing up the decks, playing tracks that remind us of our youth. I miss Paul. I miss coffee, cake and carver, stolen time with Kirsty. I miss conversations about nothing, but where everything gets said, even when there's silence, decades of shared history, and yes, I miss cake too. I miss being busy, squeezing every second out of every day, rewrites done 20 minutes before the gig, because that's the only time to grab. I miss urgency and panic, especially when it really wasn't real. I miss busy. I miss poetry nights, getting lost in towns whose landmarks don't speak to me. I miss events running late. I miss open micers, poetry that makes me catch my breath. I miss my breath. I miss cleaning other people's houses, not just the money, but the rhythm and routine of repetitive work. I miss rehearsal space in someone else's kitchen. I miss headspace to create. Doesn't work at home, it seems. I miss other people's houses. I miss hugs. Who knew the world's least huggable person had need for human contact? I miss stepping back to keep my body safe, making a joke of distance before it all became the rage. And God, I miss rage too. I am missing in inaction. I am missing in action. I am missing. Thank you. I very recently had a landmark or a landmine or a millstone birthday. Take it as you will. So I've been thinking a lot about aging, what happens to your body as you age. This is called When Our Bodies Become as Linen. When our bodies become as our favourite fabric, says someone on my Instagram feed, except mine hasn't. Instead, more the sort of linen that's seen too many summer's days. Too many beaches have failed to live up to our optimistic expectations yet again. Fabric frayed and faded in places so fragile that now in some lights the pink of your palm shines through as if through coloured glass. And the creases don't drop out like they used to, and this despite my careful care. Hang damp, good shake. Wonder if I could do this to the skin I'm in. Drape myself on a hanger overnight. Snap the fabric and watch as it falls back into shape. Skin perfect, summer perfect, but old linen shapes to you. Softly wraps around the skin. Memories of holidays when, Expectation and optimism found perfect balance on a beach, where just this once, bucket and spade and sea were quite enough. And long ago and far away, my skin as desirable as shotted silk, but silk tears easily. An unguarded tear, a whole bolt of fabric wasted. One drop of rain can render a garment unwearable. Linen ages better, keeps pace with me. Colours fade, wash out, vanish into the horizon as a tide gone far away. Linen retains the memory of sun, the ghost of suntan oil on greying collar, the promise of ice cream again. Even as I pack it away in winter, I'm trusting in another summer to come. Thank you. So, last poem. It's all about love and acceptance, which seems like a good place to end. What do you need to know? Durness, very small village, stupidly far from where I live. It's in the Highlands. You just keep going for about 17 million years and you get there. So this is called The Wedding at Durness, and its form is balladish, strong narrative. Go with it. We went to Durness to see an old friend finally hitched. Durness, fathomably far from here, takes 2 days. And in 2 days you can get most anywhere, but we chose Durness, and so the sleeper train. And yes, this should be Gare du Nord, St. Petersburg, but it's Loughborough. Well, every journey starts with a single step. And the guard solicitous spots I'm travelling solo with a small child, asks if I'd like a drink from the bar, and unasked brings back chocolate too. And my daughter sits arms folded, fought and lost the battle for the upper bunk, determined to stay awake, determined to not miss anything. And in 5 minutes flat is flat out. Spotty leopard rescued from a rucksack sprawling on her pillow, and I want to stay awake, want to not miss anything but the Baileys. And the lullaby of train on track spoons me into sleep. Next morning, same guard, same smile. Brings coffee and croissant that's almost good, and Inverness is cold. I guess it's always cold. The natives favour fleece and bobble hats, and my city smart coat simply isn't cutting it. So, in the spirit of inquiry and to ward off hypothermia, we go to see if Scottish McDonald's are different to English. Spoiler alert, they're not, but they are heated. And we are waiting for the other guests on the one taxi from the village to ferry us to Durness, and then we drive. Dear God, we drive. Lurch left into a landscape of lunacy, no trees, boulders big as houses dropped from leaden skies. But the car is warm, we have champagne and gossip, and a driver who chimes in with stories of people we don't know yet, but after tomorrow will. Tonight is the pre-wedding party, wedding party, party. A night where I get so spectacularly drunk that an efficient crofter's wife efficiently puts my daughter to bed and doesn't judge. Next morning, I leave the child sharing stories of pony daring do with a newfound friend and take my hangover. So tangible, it pads beside me like a spirit pet to the beach. Vast expanse of virgin sand, rocks that cry to be climbed, and it's empty. And later someone says, well, it's good we don't get the weather here, otherwise our beaches would be overrun. An interesting take from someone who works for the Highland Tourist Board, but I get it. This beach cannot be gentrified with bars and loungers, deck chair hire. This sea says, come on in if you're hard enough. And I walk the one road that takes you to and from the village, see cars heading for the hotel, cars heading for the wedding, and I have 2 jobs. Read the poem nicely and don't cry. And so I keep my tears in check until the very end, when neighbours stand and cheer. And I think of everything that Kevin and Simon have lost to be in this place here. Friends and jobs and family. But here, if you work hard and stay the winters and don't go mad, they will let you in. And they do work hard. Sell books, sell cakes, stay sane. Live now in a place where you are judged for what you do and not what people think you do. And the after party is like every after party. Ebb and flow of conversation, instant intimacy with strangers. And at some point in the day, my daughter plans to go and ride a naughty pony. And when I look a bit askance, the other mother smiles and whispers that the pony is 27, and so no real threat. which is how next morning I find myself at another stranger's table. She, incomer too, keeps trying to make a garden, fails, but tries again, and she says, living here's so hard that the only currency is kindness. But it's not for me. Landscape too large, or maybe I'm too small, but we did go to Durness to see our dear friends wed. Thank you so much. Have a lovely rest of your festival. Bye-bye now.